What's up, my writing weirdos? Welcome to Friday's Write-In and Author Chat. Today I am so excited because I have two amazing writers that have never co-hosted with me before on my channel. I have Savvy Writes Books and Lisa Daly with me today. So, Lisa, why don't you tell folks a little bit more about yourself?
Well, thanks so much. I am, first of all, thanks for having me. I'm super excited to be here today, especially with Savvy, because we do live stream every week together. So yay, awesome. And you are always there at our live stream. So I'm just super excited about today. I am a traditionally published author of 9 books. I keep saying 8, but it's actually 9 now, of 9 books. And over on my channel, I do little writing advice, a little publishing dish, and if you're looking, you're super proud of and get it published, it's a good channel to hang out on.
Wonderful.
That's it.
I can concur with that. So, all right. So, Savvy, how about you?
Hi guys, so I'm Savvy from the channel Savvy Writes Books. On my channel, we talk about writing stuff. We do a weekly writing live stream, but we also talk about small business owner life because a lot of us as authors are small business owners. I'm a small business owner, not just of books, but also of toys and things like that. So we talk about small business owner life. We talk about people who are trying to exploit and scam small business owners. And we do lots of roasts of multi-level marketing gurus, of people who run pyramid schemes, of, those crazy business people. We do a lot of that too, because I think that's fun. So my channel's a combination of writing stuff and business expose stuff.
I have to admit, when I first found your channel, Savvy, it was really random. I had popped in for somebody else's chat, and it might have been Lisa's chat, honestly, and you were co-hosting on the chat. And I was like, oh, I'll go and find her on Twitter real quick. And you had just posted, I remember what it was for. It was for the AuthorTube author seminar collaboration. And I went and found you, and you had just posted one of your MLM expose things about lipstick or something.
Oh, the one with Lip Sense, that company trying to capitalize on the health pandemic.
Yes.
That's not okay. Yeah.
And I went and normally it's not a video necessarily that I would have watched, but I was like, I want to get a feel for your channel, and I want to get a feel for your videos. And so I watched it, and I mean, I was both outraged at what they were doing, but also I was just so amused with how you deliver your videos. And that I was like, I'm totally outraged and laughing my ass off at the same time.
Oh, that's what I'm going for. I want people to get angry and amused at the same time, because I'm often angry and amused at the same time. That's why I have so much energy to give you all.
Right? It's the way to be. I have to say, the first Savvy video that I ever saw was this is how Savvy and I met. I somehow got served up in the beautiful YouTube algorithm with this video that she did ranting about what a pain in the neck it is to have big boobs. And I could relate.
Yeah, I could relate too.
Yeah. And so that's how we met.
I mean, that's still my most viewed video. I'm hoping one of these days, one of my book videos will be one of my most viewed videos. But to this date, it's still having huge boobs sucks.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's catchy. It's catchy.
And it's the truth. You speak the truth.
I was speaking the truth.
Yeah, there are a whole pantheon of us out there that are just yes.
Right.
But it's also a lot of guys just search boobs in the search bar. So if I go to my analytics, it's people searching boobs, huge boobs. That brings a lot of people to my channel, apparently.
Probably not what they were hoping to see.
Yeah.
Give a little food for thought, Tabby. Little food for thought.
Okay. So we got a couple of people popped up in the chat box. Sarah is here, hey, and Doll is here as well, and commiserating with us on the hating boobs. And another of her billion reasons why they don't want to be on camera. Big boobs.
Big boobs. They're a curse. They're a curse.
They are a curse. I'm always like, I'll put on something on the days, I'll put on something on the days that I'm streaming that I would normally wear out of the house, but because of where the camera cuts off, I'm always like, yeah, I'm not wearing that on that stream. Or, I'll take it off like right away. And I'm like, yeah.
Well, my goal is to become rich and famous so I can afford to get breast reduction, and then my life will be so much better.
My sister did that, actually. My sister did that a number of years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And she's always been a very well-endowed woman. And after her first child, after my niece, it became ridiculous.
Yeah.
And she planned on having another child. So she waited and she waited and she waited and she waited. And like 5 years went past and they didn't, end up getting pregnant. So she was like, I'll go ahead and have the reduction. So she had the reduction, and then lo and behold, like a year later, she ended up getting pregnant with my nephew. And so she's like, I had this whole reduction to just go back to where I was growing up, basically. So she's still large. I mean, she still has big boobs, but
that's the thing, is like, I've been wanting this like my whole life. Like it's been since like, I don't know, like middle school.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, this is too much.
And see, I'm weird because I grew up, I had a hyperactive thyroid as a kid, so I couldn't put on weight. I had nothing. I was just skin and bones, and I ate constantly. So growing up, I didn't have any kind of shape to me at all. And all I wanted my whole life was the curves that all of the women in my family have, because all the men in my family love curvy women. And they love big boobs and big
Luckily
butts.
for you, you're not trying to attract the men in your family.
Yeah, no, luckily for me, but that was my standard or my definition.
Another live stream altogether.
That's true. But that was what I thought men really enjoyed.
Yeah,
sure.
I thought the standard of beauty was to be curvaceous, and so I wanted them so badly. And then finally, after like metabolism and life caught up with me, I like exploded and was like, oh, okay, I'd like to go back now.
Yeah. Well, I had the problem where like, and this is the thing, nobody will believe me that this was a problem. In high school, I was very skinny. I was like underweight, but I also still had huge boobs.
Yeah. That's my whole family was like
that. Always like, that's not a problem. That's like the standard of beauty. I'm like, I don't care. I'm not trying to like be attractive. I hate this body. Can someone please take it away from me?
Yeah.
Well, and just to have like when people talk to you, it's all like their eyes are all.
And the fact that I have scoliosis, so like my spine's already twisted, and
you're already.
I don't like. It's hard because I keep trying to work out. It's important to me to be in shape and that kind of thing. But every time I work out, my whole shoulders and back ache just from wearing a sports bra and having to try to compress.
My mother has like grooves in her shoulders.
Yeah.
Right?
I don't mind show up on camera, like.
Yeah.
Like here we did it.
Yeah. From years of it. And that whole like super skinny with giant boobs, that's like my entire family.
And people would be like, that's not a problem. That's a good thing. You should be grateful. My mom's not sorry.
Yeah. Well, it's funny that you say that, because like in your family, if everybody was like that. So for my mom, my aunt, all my great aunts, they all were like, oh, it's the curse. It's the curse. Like they'd always like, we hope you don't get them. And then when you do, then they're like, too bad.
You got them.
Yeah.
So my family did too. My family was all like, no, you're good. You don't want them. You don't want them. Trust me, you don't want them. And
I feel like I unfortunately grew up like right before there was like a cultural feminist revolution, not in like a specific way, but like I feel like Generation Z, there's a lot of teenage girls who will be like protesting unfair dress codes, who like are like, it's not about men looking at women, it's women have the right to dress how they want, men have to control it. But like that was like, at least when I was growing up, I feel like I was like 10 years too early, because everyone around me would be like, you can't dress that way because men are going to look at you sexually. It's like, well, shouldn't that be their problem if they're looking at a underage girl like that?
Yeah, again, right. We don't want to be held responsible
exactly
for other people's issues. My significant other just texted me and said, is this a writing stream or a boob stream?
Yeah, well, due to the found me from my boob video, so now we all went on a tangent.
Yeah, right. We
It
should
was definitely an interesting introduction to.
Put it in the video title, and you'll get like 15,000 views.
Yeah.
There we go. I'll just have to tag it, I guess, and we'll get a ton of. So we had a few people pop in. So we had Shamsi Rue, I think that's how I pronounce the last name, pop in, and Allie Unicorn Fan. Always good to see you with your new avatar. Appreciate that. Naked Firefly is here as well. I caught Naked Firefly's stream earlier today. A few people commiserating with us on the not having good boobs issue, and Sarah was saying that they didn't particularly have that problem, that they had smaller ones, but unfortunately they don't produce milk, so like they were never able to breastfeed. So, and I know that is a problem sometimes with smaller size breasts. So
I'm like, I don't have kids, so I never think along those lines.
I do.
I don't think along those lines either.
Yeah, so I do, and I think a lot of times too, you make a decision on whether you want to nurse before you ever have the baby, and so if you really struggle with that, whether your boobs are big or small, if you decide you want to do that and then you're not able to, it can, it's really difficult for people to sort of get through that.
Yeah, I agree. So Sarah is, I have to point this out, Sarah is cooking Beltane honey cake today. I am so excited because I thought I was the only one celebrating Beltane today, but apparently not. So that's all good. So for those that don't know what Beltane
I don't know what that is.
It is the pagan holiday of fertility, basically. It's kind of like our Easter for the most part. It's
we're talking about boobs. That's terrific.
It's perfect. We talked about we talked about boobs and breastfeeding, and it's all good. It's perfect for today. So we also had Sharon Wrights popped in to say hello to us, and Nancy's doing some more commiserating about the breastfeeding issue with them being bigger. So
I think I'll just get them totally removed. That's my goal. I'm just no boobs. I'm gonna go opposite
and just be like, they're gone.
Yeah, I'm just gonna get them gone. Hopefully within the next year or so, if possible.
Oh,
I'm figuring that I told my partner that probably like my 40th birthday or shortly thereafter, I'd love to have a reduction done.
Yeah,
and maybe get them back up to where they're supposed to be.
Kind of a two.
I'm thinking about it. I'm like, I don't plan to have any kids. I don't really have a need for them. So
I don't have much of a need.
They eat a lot. They make noise.
Yeah, no, it's inconvenient. Yeah.
I understand. Well, so it's a terrible segue, but I think we should probably write instead of just talk about big boobs.
Probably.
And then stop texting
people wrong.
We could write about big boobs. There's that. Maybe I'll write an erotica or something.
Write about big boobs. We could really write some interesting contemporary women's lit.
Like Sculpt Yourself, my novel with women who have big boobs.
There's a segue.
There's a segue for us. I was gonna say, can I get her to do it?
All right.
Okay, so Dahl was saying that they understand your feelings about not having kids. I am the same way about not having kids. I tell everybody people tell me all the time I would be a good parent, and yes, I would be a good parent. I'd be an obligatory good parent, but I am a fantastic voluntary aunt.
Yes. I would be a terrible parent just because I'm pretty self-centered, and I'm not I don't feel bad saying that. I prioritize myself and my career a lot. I can't imagine putting another person before me forever. That's not, so I know I'd be bad at it.
Yeah.
I'm good with kids. I'm like, that's why I teach kids writing, because
I
don't have to keep them alive. I just have to teach them writing.
I think it's good when people are like, hey, I don't want to. I think it's worse when people who don't really want to have kids feel like, oh, I should just have some because I'm married.
Because that's what humans do. And then
sex or whatever. I have loved it. And I love it. I absolutely love being a parent. And so I would not trade it for a million years, but it is like there's a lot that you sacrifice along the way. And if you are not totally into it, you shouldn't do it.
Yep.
So there you go.
You're about one of the only parents in the world that says that. So thank you, Lisa.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to look at it. And I think that's a thing that like parents and non-parents should agree on. Like being a parent is something you do because you're passionate about it and you love it.
Well, and you'll be better at it if you really want to do it. It doesn't feel like it does not feel like a huge sacrifice if this is something you really care about. Just like all the hours that you spend working on your business and writing your books do not feel like a major sacrifice.
Exactly.
You want to do that. It's your passion. So yeah, definitely. All right.
I agree. So let's do a little writing now that we've gotten way off topic stuff talked about. But we can keep going off on a tangent. I mean, come on. My motto is fantastically weird. So we could do as weird as you need on my stream.
Well, here's the transition. I'm working on my writing for kids' books. So there's kids and writing. Let's write.
Oh, yeah, that's right. So before we start our sprint, which we'll do a 5-minute warm-up, just because I took a whole bunch of time off this mid-morning to film videos. So my hands are like, now stiff again. But before we do that, why don't we go ahead and tell everybody what we are working on?
Perfect.
And
so Savvy, you said that you are working on what again?
So I don't know how much writing I'm actually going to get done today, but I'm working on stuff for Forever Home Friends. So I this morning did like a plushie photo shoot outside on my front steps. So I took pictures of my plushies. I had them start a little stuffed animal doggy band. I had them go shopping. I had them sit outside in the flowers by trees. So right now I'm just gonna like edit and send those photos to my friend who's working with me on social media. And so I'm probably gonna work more on that kind of side of it rather than writing today, just because I did so much writing on that book on the stream on Wednesday and then also yesterday. So I might not do actually any writing, but I'm gonna be working on like plushy stuff.
So it's writing related.
It's good. I know. So I will be working on 2 things today. I have to finish up my talking points for my next video, and I'm also going to be working on a book proposal. So those are my 2 things that I'm working on right now.
Awesome. And I am not actually going to be doing much writing either. I am going to be editing some of the videos that I recorded this morning because, as a few people know, my partner and I, we have been house hunting, and we actually put in a bid on a house that was accepted. So now we're like in our inspection phase and making sure that,
That's so exciting.
It is exciting. Wait, you're not buying Lauren's house, are you?
No.
Savvy streamed the other night.
Lauren is moving right now. She was talking about that on my stream on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Well, no,
she just sold her house, didn't she? Or did she? They had like 3 offers or something.
Yeah, and my parents just started moving yesterday. They moved like just like the next street over. They're not moving that far, but like everyone's moving right now, which is crazy because we're all supposed to stay inside.
Well, it's a really good time right now to buy. Interest rates are super, super low. I mean, they were low before. They were low like at the beginning of the year, but they've dropped even lower because it's another way of stimulating economy.
Awesome.
So, I don't know how it works, but that's what I've been told. So a lot of people are buying because they can buy the real estate right now for super cheap. So we just we were coming towards the end of our lease, and we've been wanting to buy for a while anyway, wanting to get a slightly larger place since we do have a roommate as well. And I wanted to have an actual full-blown, I think my cat is hacking up something. So whatever that weird noise is in the background, that would be the cat. Anyway, but so, and I was wanting to get an actual like full-time, non-temporary office. So
yeah, that's important.
It is really important.
Having an office changed my life.
Well, especially with recording the videos, like writing and doing my writing, I can do that in a pretty small amount of space in like the dining room or something. But doing my videos and having to have my lights and my tripod and everything just kind of set up all the time and having to have whatever's behind me kind of decent looking all of the time so that so I can just do that whenever I feel like doing it. Then that's been the big problem. And on top of that, just the noise issue of even if I do have all of that set up all of the time, it's never quite quiet. I have to pick very opportune times. So that was another reason. But so that's what I'm doing today, is working on recording, because I wanted to, I need to get all of that batched and videos up for this month while we're moving. So, because we're moving for a couple more weeks, as long as everything goes through with the inspections. But I want to get everything packed and everything scheduled and organized just in case.
Whew. You're going to be busy.
Lots of stuff. Okay, so go ahead and get started on a 5-minute warm-up sprint. So it will give us a little countdown first. If I can get it working, there we go. Okay, so we are done with our warm-up sprint. So how did everyone, do on the warm-ups?
I
Savvy.
wrote nothing, but no, right now I was reading through my YouTube comments on the video I posted today, so I'm going to be responding to comments. I'm trying to not take too long to respond to comments because I want to be, having conversations with people. So I'm going to be doing some of that. And then I also got an email from my editor at the magazine I work at. So I got to do a few things for that. So I just got distracted all over the place. So but I don't expect to write anything, so I didn't let myself down. It's okay. Keep your expectations low.
Yeah.
No. Oh, I'm gonna have to like
I'm
close.
just kidding.
I just got like the sun, like what? Wow. I have like my office overlooks water, and so I was thinking like, oh, it's almost 4 o'clock. I'm about to be blasted in the face.
Done hold on real quick. With our warm-up sprints. So I got feedback. How did everyone, do on
That's
your?
weird. Does somebody have this on?
Clicked it. Oops. Okay. Sorry about that.
That's okay. So yeah, so I need some notes for my video script, and then on our longer sprint, I'm going to be writing that. So good.
Good. Okay. So I did. I got like the front, the warm up part of the video where you're just kind of sitting there and you're like blah blah blah, like trying to warm yourself up to do the video. I got that chopped off the beginning, and I got the outro stuff chopped off, and that was about all I did. So, but we have.
I am gonna go close my blinds.
That's okay. It's okay. So, Doll said that she thought that what you're working on sounds so cute, Savvy.
Oh, thank you.
And she is finishing a poem today.
Yay.
Sarah is working on second draft unless they decide to take a break from it and do some brainstorming on another story. I love brainstorming. I mean, just love brainstorming. It's like my favorite part of the whole process, I think. Adega stopped by and said hi and bye and good luck all in the same breath, basically.
That's good. Oh my God.
So Sharon writes, wrote nothing, but figured out where they left off, which is that's a good starting place. That's a good starting place. And Sarah journaled a bit in my booho to get warmed up. Cool. And Naked Firefly cleaned the kitchen and now working on the last of homework.
All right.
All right. You're working on that homework today, girl. Just getting it done. All right. So, yeah, so I think we could probably go ahead and go straight into a 20-minute sprint. Does that sound good to you, ladies?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll go into a 20-minute sprint. Let me get it heat up real quick. I don't know why, but there's so I have 3 monitors between my laptop, and I have my laptop, of course, and then I have my other 2 monitors. And for some reason, one of my monitors, whenever I'm clicking around on it, is slow. It lags, but the others don't. So it's always whatever one I put YouTube on to be my second screen for these videos. And I'm like, what? I don't get it. It's so annoying. So it's because it doesn't matter which monitor I decide to put it on.
Well, I think it's like that always, like it lags a little bit. Oh, this is a cool one.
Yeah.
Ooh, I like this.
Yeah, I found this the other day, and so I've got a whole list of like writing sprint timers now, and a whole playlist of them. And I found this one the other day, and I happened to be outlining my latest D&D campaign for whenever we can play again, and I was just in a very feudal type of mood, and I was like, oh, this is like a perfect, very D&D, style timer. So get added to the list. All right, so we will get going now. beep, 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 beep. I didn't realize this timer doesn't have an ending sound. Beep, 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 beep. That's a shame. It's like a perfect timer too if it just had an ending sound to it. But that's okay. That's okay. All right. So how did everyone do? Looks like Devin came in while we were out, and he really enjoys the timer. So hey, Devin, good to see you. Mike McPhee also came in. It's okay, Mike. We know that you've been, under the weather and not feeling the greatest lately. So sleep is a good thing. Sleep is a very good thing. Jeannie also came in as well while we were on Sprint. So finally awake and should start on the new outline.
Yes.
That is a good thing. That is a good thing. Allie thinks I had it muted. I did have it muted because it had ambient sound. It had ambient music, and I just wanted to just be careful and not have that on there. But I did unmute it at one point during the stream, and towards the end, and no sound, unfortunately. But that's okay. So.
I have done that. I sometimes use a timer that is like an underwater scene, and it has ocean sounds, but I always have to mute it because otherwise, like 5 minutes into it, I'm like, I really need to use the ladies' room. So it's like this rushing water. Not good.
Yeah, I can understand that. For a while, my partner and I I can't hear. I can't hear a lot of like ambient sound or white noise type sounds, but I can still hear like thunder and stuff like that. So I can imagine a whole rainstorm and stuff. So I listen to thunder while going to sleep. But the problem is he has to listen to the rain. And so he's like, you don't hear the rain part of it. You're just imagining the rain part of it. And he's like, I'm the one that has to deal with having to go to the restroom after like 5 minutes in bed.
Well, what's so funny though is like, so that thing always makes me need to use the restroom. But when I write, I often write to ocean sounds if I'm not at the beach, because it sort of gets me right into that writing mood. And so, yeah, so, and that never has the same impact on me. I'm not sure why.
I don't know. Well, just slightly different sound and slightly different, I guess, trigger for you, I guess.
Yes, yeah.
All right, so how did we do on the sprint?
I did really well. I made a lot of notes on the script that I'm working on, so I'm pretty excited about that. Should have a script ready pretty soon, hopefully by the end of the sprint.
Cool. How about you, Savvy?
I finished responding to all my YouTube comments, and I got done with the plushie photos, so I'm probably going to move on to doing some things for my magazine job on the next sprint.
Awesome.
Okay. That is pretty cool. So it looks like we had Glory that just popped in. Hi, Glory. Good to see you. Thanks for coming to the channel. Sarah got 212 new words on the second draft. Yay. Good. Zoe got lots of editing done. Allie says that their normal writing sound is either rain or streams, I'm guessing. Sometimes they do mix it up with fires. Now, see, fires, I might still be able to hear that. I don't know. I'll have to try that sometime.
That's cool. Yeah, I don't think I've ever thought about writing to fire. That's pretty cool.
That would be nice and soothing, though.
Yeah. I know, right? Like a fireplace.
Yeah. So Allie tries to listen to music when editing, helps brain get into that mode. Now, I do listen to music when I edit. Usually something that's instrumental or something like that, but when I'm editing writing. But if I'm like editing videos, obviously not. But so that's where I managed to get all through. I managed to eliminate, I call it my rough cut of all my breathing and all my ums and starts and stops. And so that's where I got on the video. I think I'm going to take a break from it because I can't listen to myself talk over and over.
Listening to music while video editing, like I like to, which I know I don't do if I'm like in the final stages of editing, but when I like first put the video along the timeline and I'm looking along the audio bar and see like where the spikes are in it and stuff. If I'm like trying to cut out long pauses or trying to cut out just pauses between words, I listen to music while I do that, because otherwise I get so bored just sitting there splicing it over and over again. So I think that can be a lot of fun. Or sometimes I watch your guys' videos. I watch like other people's videos while I'm editing my
While
videos.
you're editing,
Yeah.
my brain doesn't go that many places at once.
I don't know if I could watch other people's videos while I'm editing my videos. I don't know. I haven't tried that.
The preliminary trimming down the audio.
No, I know what you mean. And you don't really even need to hear anything. You can
Right,
literally just look to see where the...
and then you're like, oh, I need to cut that. And if I have some videos, this is especially if I've recorded a video that's like an hour long, 40 minutes long, and like I have so much of that to get through, it's like I'll watch your guys' videos while I'm doing that, because just staring at the screen with no sound while I do all that is really boring.
Yeah, now that I can do. Usually I watch other people's videos when I'm doing graphics, like if I'm designing graphics or for marketing or for whatever, then I'll watch other people's videos, because I can look away, and every time I look away and look back to the graphic, it shows me something new. It's like kind of resetting my eyes. So I can look away. But I mean, I also have the hindrance of whether I'm watching my own videos or I'm watching somebody else's videos, everything's on captioning for me.
Yeah.
So I only catch, like, of natural speech, I only catch about every third or fourth word people say most of the time. So if I'm watching captioning for my videos and trying to watch captioning for somebody else's videos, it's like trying to read two books, like hold two books like this and just be like, okay, I'm not going to get any of this. I'm just going to miss a whole bunch of stuff. So
that's funny. Oh my God.
You really came just from binging Savvy's MLM videos.
Oh, thank
you.
And Ms. Bonnie Phillips is here. Good to see you, Bonnie.
Hi, Bonnie.
Glory Fink says that her favorite ambient sound to write with is tavern, very prancing pony inspired, or coffee shop sounds.
Oh, I like the YouTube videos that are like coffee shop video, and it'll be like smooth jazz with some coffee roasting noises. That's fun.
I love that. Well, it's right, because one of the greatest places I think to write is in a bookstore. And so if you're writing in like a little cafe in a bookstore, right, there's a little talking, little coffee sound, some snacks. I think it's good.
I can do. Yeah. That I could have all that, like that jumbled background sound. That's one of the benefits of being hard of hearing deaf, is that I can have a ton of background noise and interference going on, and I only hear a portion of it, so it doesn't really bother me as much. Everybody was like, I don't get it. How can you write with all that noise? And I'm like, what noise?
Well, and if you're in a place like that where no one's specifically talking to you, or there's no like ding ding or some weird noise, it all just sort of fades into the background.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, it does. So Jeannie was saying that Cat Trumpet on YouTube has the fireplace ambient.
Oh, okay. I'll look that up.
Yeah, something that we'll have to look at and see. And Allie Unicorn is subbed to a channel that does jazz music streams. They've helped me in the past to switch it up. I'm a little sad that one of the streams I follow isn't happening at the moment. They're more focused on their other channel right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sometimes, some people that have multiple channels, and they've got to figure out kind of like how to balance the two channels and things like that. That actually kind of comes back to what I was wanting to talk about, because we talked at the beginning a little bit. We touched on balancing parenting in our lives and with our writing, and like Savvy was saying, she's very dedicated to her career, to her business, and making sure that it's all good. And I'm kind of the same way. So I was kind of wondering, what steps does everybody take to balancing their writing life with their regular life? And if one of you nice ladies wants to tackle that right off the bat, then have at it.
You want to talk?
I used to, for the most part, I just don't. Like, Up until last June, so I guess almost a year ago now, but I was working 9,500 hours a week. Like I was, because I was in school. So I was in school and I was working at the school so that I could get my tuition waived so that I wouldn't go into debt. And then I was also, starting up my channel on YouTube, and I had just started my business, Forever Home Friends. So I was running that and doing events. So it was like during the week, I'd go to school, I'd go to my job at the school, I would, I would do events for Forever Home Friends on the weekends. In the mornings, I would go downtown and teach a kids creative writing workshop. And then in the evening, after I got home from night class, I would do my articles for magazines. So basically, like at that point, I just didn't balance it. And that went on for 2 years, and it was pretty exhausting. Now that I'm not in school, it's much easier to balance it. But for me, it's like what I do is just every day I'm like, I have dinner with my husband, and we while we eat dinner, we play Animal Crossing together, or we watch something on TV together, or we play some other video game together. And we do that. And then we're like, all right, now we'll go back to work. Well, he doesn't go back to work because he has one job like a sane person. So he's like, I'm done with my work day. But then I will be like, he'll be like, okay, I'm going to go play a different video game that you're not interested in. And then I will be like, okay, cool, I'll go back to work, and then I'll go edit my videos. So for me, it's like every day I'm like, all right, we're going to spend time together at this point. So if I had kids, I absolutely could not do this. So this is not feasible for people with kids on a personal schedule, because I'm like, I will set aside like an hour a day to spend with people in my family. But that's how I do it.
Okay. Well, how about you, Lisa?
Yeah. So for me, when my kids are a little bit older now, when they were younger, they both went to a school that started at like 9:10 in the morning. So we would like roll out of bed at 8, have some breakfast. I'd take them to school, and then I would just go over to the beach and write all day. And they didn't get out until like 4 in the afternoon. And so I had the entire day at the beach to write, and that was just my little routine. I would, throw my little iPad and keyboard in my beach bag, drop them off, go write all day, and then come back and get them. And by that time I was like, that was a really long, solid day of writing. But now they're older, and my daughter's school starts at like 6:30 in the morning, and then I have to go pick her up like in the middle of the afternoon. Not now, obviously, but I don't want to go to the beach at 7:00 in the morning. Like that's crack of dawn too early. And if I have to leave by like 1:30, that doesn't really work. And so I've had to that was my writing schedule for years. And so I've really had to kind of find ways to do it, because I can't go to the beach every single day and during the week. And obviously this is non-lockdown time. And so I've had to change how I write, which has really been a struggle for me, because I had this established pattern for a long time. And I think that's really the key to being super productive, is just butt in chair, fingers on keyboard every day. And then now that I'm already struggling with how do I make sure I get plenty of time to write? I added a YouTube channel. So that seems like a genius idea, right? Because that takes a lot more time as well. So, and then I do daytime. Normally, again, we're off for the pandemic, but yeah, so to try and do all that, you have to just figure out what's really important to you. For me, my family's really important. My writing's really important, but I also need to make time for my friends and the things that sort of feed my soul. Otherwise, you're just outputting all the time and you're not taking anything in. And I think both things are important if you're going to be a good writer.
Yeah. I agree with that. I'm sort of like Savvy in the regard of that. I don't have kids, so I don't have that. I do have a partner and everything. And I used to just write when I caught spare moments of time, here and there, when I was motivated, when I was inspired, when I was feeling bad and guilty for not having written in forever and a day. So I would steal little amounts of time, but I realized when I was stealing little amounts of time, I was actually taking a lot of time away from my partner. not meaning to, of course. I mean, we were still doing things together, but we weren't doing as much together. And so what I ended up having to do was starting to schedule out actual blocks of time to be able to write and to be able to do my YouTube channel, which that's still fairly new, but it still was more time that I had to put into it, recording the videos, editing the videos, researching how the hell to do all that because I didn't even know to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
But for the longest time, like Savvy, I had crazy amounts of hours that I was putting in at work because I had a 9 to 5, and then my 9 to 5 was never 9 to 5. It was usually like 7 a.m. to 9 p.m., sometimes middle of the night, because when you work in communications and public relations and marketing, sometimes it's just middle of the night, and there's a lot of overnight road trips for places and things like that. So
Sure.
I very much became a live and die by my calendar on my phone. That was like my big thing was if it wasn't scheduled, and that included like spending time with my partner and spending time with my friends and my family and just me time even. I remember there were times where I would schedule myself a massage, and massages for me are actually essential because I have pain management therapy that I do. And I would schedule a massage, but I would forget to put it in the calendar, and I would literally forget about it, and I would be right smack dab in the middle of something else important and not be able to do my massage. So I wouldn't get any me time, kind of a thing. But we had quite a few people were mentioning the way that they deal with it. Jeannie says that there is only writing life for her, so apparently there's no balance needed. It's just all writing life. And Allie Unicorn Fan, right now writing is it. I have to get back into the groove once I go back to work. I know a lot of people are going to. We've had this window as writers where the world can revolve around our writing, which is nice.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's been a good getaway for a lot of people, for a lot of writers specifically, because we've had this time to be able to dedicate to it. But of course, we're going to have to shift again at some point. So hopefully not too soon.
Yeah, I am interested in what you had mentioned. I think Savvy mentioned a little bit about about our partners, because some partners are really supportive of writing, some really aren't, some feel like that's time taken away, some don't. My significant other is a writer, so we don't ever, like, that's just not really a thing. We'll sometimes go like, oh, hey, I miss you, we should hang out. I like you, I think we used to know each other. But for the most part, he sort of gets like being in that zone, except when it's dinner time, then everybody's like, knock, knock, hey, what's happening? So I don't know. What do you guys think about that? Do you have, like, how are your partners generally as far as being understanding of needing to carve out that writing time?
Well, I think that, like, I don't know, for me and Tyler, it's pretty easy, like, because we both do our jobs during work hours, and like we're both working from home right now. Both do our jobs during work hours, and then I do like additional writing and video and that kind of thing in the evening. So we'll like eat dinner together, and then he has a lot of like video games that he likes to play that I am not interested in, and then like ones we're both interested in, we'll play together. But then he'll like go play something else, and I'll work on other stuff. He's not a writer, but it's cool because the thing that we both do is like toy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So he likes to make models and make toys and that kind of thing with 3D printing, and I also like to do that with like my plushies and making accessories for them. So sometimes we work on toy stuff together, so we do some work together in some ways, and that's kind of fun. For me, it's not like a thing I have to think about that hard. It's just like I don't think I would have married someone who didn't support the fact that I'm a writer. So I don't know. It's not really like, maybe I'm just lucky. It's not really been a struggle.
No, I think sometimes people think they've married somebody who's supportive of their writing, but then right? But they're supportive generally of the concept of writing, but then when it's like dinner time and there's no food, or they haven't seen you for like a week because you're at the end of the book and you're just nonstop.
Yeah.
I know a lot of other writers who have issues with that, where they're, they feel like it's a real balancing act, and it's hard for them because there are sometimes when you are really in the zone and you just want to spend every minute writing.
Yeah, I agree with you. So my partner, this is actually my second, marriage and everything. So my first marriage, well, he was a wonderful man, thought he supported my writing, and he did, as far as me actually doing the writing and me taking the time out of my day to do that. But when it came to being published, that was the problem, because suddenly I was taking the time out of my day to write, to edit, to rewrite, to critique group, and I was taking my time out of the day to go to conventions and book signings and do marketing, and so that became a whole big thing. Not the reason our marriage didn't go forward, but it was a part of like not having the same vision of a life, kind of a thing. But so this is this partner is my second, and B is really good about, he's very, very supportive. I don't think there's anything I've ever done that he hasn't been supportive of. But when it comes to my writing, I think he understands, because he's like the ultimate learner, always learning something new, always trying something new. And he takes a lot of time doing that when he's learning his stuff. So he totally gets my writing.
Yeah.
Of it's something that once I'm down the rabbit hole of writing, it's just like when he's down the rabbit hole of YouTube, because he wants to suddenly learn how to make knives, which, believe me, that was 6 months of our life where it was nothing but YouTube and him learning how to hand make and craft a knife, which I now have lots of beautiful knives. And
that's so cool. I love it.
That is cool.
It's so, he does stuff like that. So he gets the writing as part of that aspect. But for us, I still do have to remember to take time to set aside for him specifically, because I can get, because what I do is my passion, and the learning is his passion, but they're small projects.
Yeah.
So he finishes one, and then he has a little bit of a lull before something catches his attention, and then it consumes him again for a little while. So I do have to remember to like set stuff aside and do stuff like that. But I don't think, along the lines with you, Savvy, I don't think the second time around, I don't think I would have been able to. I was pretty upfront with, hey, I'm a writer and I'm published, and it takes a lot of my time and it takes a ton of my energy, and you're going to have to deal with that, kind of a thing. And he was just like, okay.
Yeah, I think for us, it's like not even a thing we had to like, because I think we both just have the same value of the fact that like we're separate people, and like we're together in the sense that we're married and have a good time together and like to do things together. But it's not like, and maybe part of this is not having kids, because I think when you become like together responsible for other people, it's different. But for us, it's like we have a good time together, but like we're also different humans. So it's not like like when he's at work, I'm not like, why aren't you spending time with me instead of going to work? Like that wouldn't make any sense, because it's like I write and I do other work, and like I juggle a lot of things, but it's like, I don't know. And if it's like, why is there no food? Then it's like, well, okay, you can go to the grocery store then. So we just,
I just mean with like,
I don't know. To us, it's not that complicated. It's like with and then do things together and just kind of wing it and do what feels right at the moment.
If there's no food, I'm always just like, Wendy's is on the corner.
That too. And like we live in the city, so this might be another thing. It's like if there's no food, like we can just like walk a block in any direction and there's plenty of food.
Something.
Yeah, so it's like not even a concern.
Yeah, so for me, like when my kids were really little, I really would schedule that writing time when they were in school, because that was like a nice big block of time. And so then I could really be super engaged with them when they were home. But they also learned from the time they were, little teeny kids, that when I was on a deadline, that meant, my mom's office door was closed, that you don't knock on the door unless the house is on fire or somebody's dying. And by the time they were, like elementary school, they were getting their own snacks and things like that. Like they,
yeah,
and the
efficiency.
Yeah, well, that was it. And I remember like the first time, I think my daughter was like 9 or 10. I was finishing a book, and I had been writing like for 14 or 15 hours, and I came out, I'm like, oh my gosh, you guys, I meant to make dinner. I'm sorry it was so late. And she had said like, oh, don't worry. I taught Quinn, who's her older brother, I taught Quinn how to make macaroni and cheese, and I did some laundry. And I was like,
so cute, and I love it. Your kids sound wonderful.
They are amazing. They're well, now they're both older, so they're like, yeah, but I was like, at that point, I'm like, you're 9. Like she was just like, well, she's on a deadline. We've got to take care of this stuff ourselves. And part of that is like, they never knew a time when I wasn't a writer. And so they know if they come into my office and I hold up the finger that they cannot talk until I'm done typing whatever I'm typing. Which is funny because that's come back.
Like this might be part of it. Like I've known Tyler since we were 11. Like we met in 6th grade homeroom, and we were growing up, and then got married as adults. And so like, he's like, we just known each other and each other's values and each other's personalities for long enough that it's not really a thing we have to talk about. I think maybe it's different if you meet someone as an adult and have to navigate things like that. But like, he already he knew me as a writer in high school. I was writing for the school newspaper, and I was writing stories and essays and stuff all the time. So he knew that about me, and I knew what he liked to do and that kind of thing. So like, I don't know, it's not really a thing we even had to think about. It was just how we always knew each other.
Yeah. That's
and until I met my partner, and basically until right at the time we started dating, I didn't know him before that.
Yeah.
So I had to be really upfront with a lot of stuff like right away. And it had to be like, I'm a writer, and that comes first in my life. And if you want kids, I'm not your girl. And, I'm like, there was just like a laundry list of items. And he was
that's it. Because like, I feel like we kind of got lucky in that sense that neither me or him want kids, because since we met so young, like obviously we met at a point in our life when neither of us would know if we wanted kids.
Right.
So like, it's entirely possible that we would have grown up and like gotten to a point where one of us did and one of us didn't, but we just got lucky that we both didn't.
Which is a good thing. It was
I think in a lot of ways this is all just luck. I'm like, a good relationship just fell into my lap. It's cool.
I didn't do anything special. It just happened.
Yeah.
So
I think
a lot of people that were saying that, Bonnie says that her key is that she has no life. She has kids in the morning, then by afternoon they just want me away from them.
Yeah, I think that some kids obviously have more social needs than other kids. So like when my son was a baby, he's a super introvert, and he would literally sit in my office and play with little puzzles, and I could write for hours, and he would just hang out and do his little thing. Whereas my daughter wanted to be on my lap. Like I have a 5-year gap between my first book and my second book, which is when my daughter was like, born and little during that time, because she was just like super social, super active, really liked to go. So yeah, big chunk there. But
yeah, I mean, I can imagine. See, my niece and nephew have only ever known me as a writer, and my niece, she was very, she'd sit and just read books or play video games or do whatever when I would have her for a while, and she'd just chill out. And my nephew, he could sit and play video games and entertain himself, but he needed a little more input from me. So I had to learn how to write in sprints, basically. I knew that there was about 15 or 20 minutes worth of time before he would ask for something, or he would ask me a question. And so I kind of had to learn learn how to do that, which, you know, I think just as much as your children adapted to you, I think we adapt to like the people in our lives, to our significant others, our kids, our.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because so my friend Lisa McLeod is really good friends with Irma Bombeck's daughter, Betsy Bombeck. And I don't know if you guys, a lot of you are very young, so I don't know if you remember who Irma Bombeck was, but she wrote these hilarious books in like the 70s and 80s. She had a newspaper column for years. And she was kind of the first person like in the late 60s, early 70s to come out and say like, motherhood is not all it's cracked up to be, which was shocking at the time. And she was hilarious. And she was kind of the first person to say, like, I don't love housework and ironing is not fulfilling. And Betsy, her daughter, said that when she published many books over the years and wrote a newspaper column for years. And when their mom was writing, they were not allowed to come into her office, and they would put little notes under the door of her office, which I always thought was kind of a funny thing. But if you think about it, like to take a stand sort of as a writer at that time in the late 60s, early 70s, when it was not, it was not the same sort of cultural experience that we're all having now. I don't know. In some ways, I really admire someone who was even at that time able to sort of carve out a space for themselves in the world.
Well, it's so cool that she was able to, during that time frame too, as a woman and a mother,
right,
to be able to carve out and be accepted as a writer, which was a big deal even during that time frame too for a woman. But as a woman and a mother, she was then able to still carve out and still and that her kids adapted to it. So, I mean, I think it's cool. That's why I wanted to ask the question, because I want to see how many people do it slightly different ways. Oh, Theo, that's so sweet. I'm grateful to have people like Dahl and BC Brown as writer friends who help me focus on other sensory descriptions besides the obvious sight and sound. Oh, well, I'm glad that we can help out. I was describing things to Dahl the other day before we were doing AuthorTube karaoke, which, by the way, was a freaking blast.
Oh my God, we heard about it. We were talking about
it. I wanted to go to AuthorTube karaoke and I fell asleep.
It's okay. It's totally okay.
I only fell asleep for 1 hour. It was like I had just increased my workout routine the day before, and I was like, okay, I'm going to start using weights on these things. And I was like, this will be fine. And then the next day I couldn't be awake. My whole body was so exhausted. And so I did the live stream with Lisa in the morning. And I was like, I'm going to keep working. And then I'm going to go AuthorTube karaoke. And then I just collapsed. And then I woke up and I was like, now I got to do my live stream.
Right.
So it was such a hit, and we all had such a good time. I mean, I'm shocked at how many people turned out for it. And
yeah, it looked so fun.
It was so much fun. So we had so many people say how fun it was and that they wished it was a more regular event, that I am thinking of hosting it once a month now.
Oh, that'd be great. Yes.
So, and I will probably keep it at the same time, but we're going to expand it out to a 3-hour block instead of 2, because 2 hours was not nearly enough once we had everybody popping on the screen wanting to sing and and everything. So 3-hour block is what we're going to do going forward. We're going to keep it at the same time because it seemed to work across the hemisphere as far as the hours went, unless it was you were just in a really awkward spot. But we're going to try a couple of different things. We're going to try a couple of different days. Sometimes it'll be weekdays. As long as I know in advance, I can schedule out on the weekends. As long as it's only for a few hours at a time, because my partner does work 2 jobs. So I try to be available on the weekends when he's available.
Is it cool if my singing is like terrible? I can't sing at all. I like to sing, I just can't.
You've been to karaoke, right?
Yeah, I'm always just loudly singing really bad, never on the right notes. I just do it for fun, because it's like singing's one of those things like dancing, makes you happy. Even if you don't know how to do it for real.
Exactly. And it is totally fine. I tell everybody that the karaoke experience is karaoke.
Yeah.
It's not supposed to be good. Some people are amazing, and
Yeah.
that's great. And I mean,
Doll,
Doll,
right?
super amazing, and she got on and played her own instruments.
That's amazing.
She like open mic'd it for it.
Because when I was a kid, I was always friends with like the theater kids, and they were always in musicals and could sing, and I was like the one person who couldn't sing. So we would like have karaoke night, and everyone would be like belting out musical theater and like these gorgeous, amazing voices, and then I would go up there just like screaming, and and everyone had like such good pitch like tuned in their ears that they'd be like, "Oh, that's so bad." I'd be like, "Well, I'm doing karaoke. Calm yourself."
Yeah, it's karaoke. Who cares? Yeah, no, it's fine. Nobody. See, I have what's called a zero troll event. You're not allowed to pressure people to sing for karaoke. You're allowed to ask one time, "Hey, are you planning on singing?" And if they say no,
but
then
don't make someone. Yeah, that's
yeah.
fine.
Then you're just like, "Cool, no problem." And then nobody is allowed to troll. Everybody has to clap and applaud because it takes guts just to do it.
It does, especially on a live stream, because you know it's going to be there forever.
Yeah, and it's on the internet. Anyone could stop by and see you.
Yeah,
exactly. And on top of that, it's like mine pushes out to YouTube, but now my StreamYard pushes out to Facebook Live and to Instagram.
Oh, can you do that?
Yes, you can.
Yeah. I know. I saw your little logo. I'm like, ooh, she sprung for the good program.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I want to push it out to more than just YouTube.
Do you have to pay for StreamYard for that?
You do.
If you want to put your logo on it, then yeah, you have to pay for StreamYard to do that. And
if you want to stream and have it go to YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram at the same time, you have to pay for that? Okay.
Yeah.
I won't do that then. I don't pay for things.
Well, I decided to do it because I wanted to have more hours recording if I was going to start also tossing in once a month, doing 3 more hours of karaoke.
Yeah, I think that's smart. And that's cool that it can do that, because then you can reach so many people at once.
Right.
Yeah.
I figure that'll grow it a little bit. It may help reach some of my writer friends that are not as big on using YouTube. They may see that there's more of an author community, and that they can really get a lot more out of YouTube and be able to meet up with some people. So that was my plan behind it. That, and I just love karaoke, and I like to show off karaoke. I'm not the greatest of singers. I can carry a tune, and I do decently pretty well. But I'm not. There's a pretty high bar in my family because my niece is a like semi-professional singer, and she's represented the USA on like a stage.
That's cool. Good for her.
Yeah, so there's a really, really high bar in my family for what's a good singer. But I do well enough, and I just really enjoy doing it. So that's my big thing. But back to balance, because I want to get through these so that we can do another writing sprint. So the Naked Firefly, she schedules. They work in the morning before children and do school, and then cook dinner, then finish up some writing or editing before and after bedtime.
Yeah.
I know you got like 4 of those little monsters running around, so that's a lot of balancing work right there. And we did have G that popped in during the writing sprint and during our conversation. I'm not sure exactly when it was, but I think it was during our conversation. Sarah relies heavily on Planner for Balance. They used to have a scheduled writing time around their daughter's homeschool, co-op classes, and meetings. Now they schedule the lessons around live streams.
That's great.
And Bonnie, my husband's a workaholic and I have kids. Plenty of time to write.
No problem.
So CO Balance is prioritizing family time. They have a full house situation: mom, brother, sister, nephew, and uncle in one house. Writer time happens when the toddler sleeps.
You have like it's really tough for like 5, 6, 7 years, and then at that point you can get more time with your kids. Sort of understand that you need time to do these, your writing. And I think it's a good lesson for them, that mom or dad has something that they care about that is important to them, and they end up sort of picking up their own little passion projects. And then as they get old, when they're 10, 12, they can fend for themselves a little bit. It's good for them to be able to make themselves a bowl of cereal or something. So it's really hard when they're toddlers. So I totally feel you right now. I do. Yeah. Right? It's really hard when they're toddlers, but the older they get, the easier it gets, and then it's not the problem that you would think it might be. We're not like 3 forever.
Yeah. I agree. I agree with that. There's a lot of I just agree with that in general. But yeah.
5 children. Did you guys see this? The Naked Firefly says 5 children.
5.
Oh my God.
We're going to have, I have no advice for that. You are going to have to tell us how to get it done. But when you
flabbergasted.
Right? So, you figure it out though, and you are going to be the queen of lit.
True. So, Ali Unicorn fan, writing isn't a problem for me to find time, but when editing, I need my computer. I have a desktop, so I'm limited to my room. That I understand. Written on the phone using notes apps, it helps, but can't pass things back and forth from it to my computer, but can do little things. So there are programs that will let you pass back and forth. Or you could write via Drive on your phone. I do that a lot. I'll write via Drive, and then that way I can use it on my computer later, and it's automatically saved in there. So G stumbled upon this write-in by chance. Not sure if it's wrapping up or just beginning. We're kind of about in the middle-ish.
Welcome.
Middle-ish towards the endish going on now. So, but usually try to get out with my friends normally 2 to 3 times a week. And all that's over for the time being. Miss Physical World friends, but I love my AuthorTube friends as they motivate me to be more. Oh, I'm so glad.
I love you too, Bonnie.
Danny appeared. I totally missed you appearing in the stream, Danny. I'm so sorry. We had so many people with such good conversations about how they balance in their lives that the StreamYard keeps bouncing me back and forth. I feel like a ping pong ball, just
I'd really love to hear what Danny thinks about this, because he has kids and I think they're kind of young, aren't they?
Well, I know one is at least.
Yeah.
So because he's on camera a lot, so.
Right. Oh, I think there are 2. For some reason, I think there are 2, but I could be wrong.
Well, maybe. Okay.
Maybe it could be. I could be completely mistaken, but I don't know why. I thought for some reason he has 2. Well, he can tell us. He's here. He could share.
Yeah.
All right.
So Sarah was saying that their partner is also a writer, so he's supportive of ambitions. He encourages me. He's also a really great dad and isn't afraid to take over parenting or entertaining the kiddos when he can. I think it's really good to have a really good support system, even if they're not writers, even if they're not, Naked Firefly's hubby is apparently the same way. Pushing to get published. CO says the same thing. But their family doesn't. Their family tries, but they really don't get it. Which my family doesn't get. I don't know. They don't actually get what it means to be a writer and have that passion. But they are totally supportive, and they try so hard to understand. I think my niece and nephew's mom, my middle sister, she really gets it. Because she has a passion for being creative and being craftsy and doing stuff like that. So she gets funneling your creative energy into that. My mom, I don't know that she gets it so much, but she just loves that I'm a writer and she loves that I'm creative. So, and my oldest sister, same thing, loves that I'm a writer, loves that I'm creative. So
that's great.
Sarah was saying she's pretty sure her husband would happily quit his job and be a stay-at-home dad, including homeschooling, if she could support them with a full-time writing career. Hey, there's no saying that you can't. I mean,
people do that all the time.
People do it.
It's not easy, but it's possible.
Yeah, people do it. It's It's not easy, but
I believe in you. You can make it happen.
You can, definitely.
Yeah. I just have to pop this up because Bonnie Phillips writes, I love Lisa Daly.
Aww.
Yeah, so, and then Danny showing us some love, saying the three of us are awesome.
Thank you, Danny. He's so great. He's like such a great member of the community. Am I the only? Yeah.
So supportive of everyone in the community, and just wants to collaborate with everybody in the community. I just love it. He popped on for just a very brief. He didn't get to do any karaoke the other day because it was 8 a.m. and he was letting his wife sleep in, but which was super nice because waking the sleeping wife is a very, very bad idea when you're getting to sleep in.
Yeah.
But he did pop on screen for a little while and at least was on there and chatted with us for a little bit. So that was fun. CO says to sing loud and proud, Savvy.
Oh, thank you.
It's about having fun, not getting a singing contract, which is oh so true. Oh, so true. It looks like Zoe had to pop out. Thank you for coming. Do really appreciate it.
Bye, Zoe.
All right, I think we are kind of caught up now. All right, so why don't we go ahead and push on and do a 20-minute writing sprint. It should be probably our last one, I think. Yeah, should be our last one, and then that'll give us just enough time to do some outros. I feel like we talked a lot on today's stream, but it is Friday. And I also think we talked about like good things in general, like kind of all around, even with the opening of the whole big boobs thing.
Now, for you latecomers, you missed quite the intro.
Yeah, so many boobs. You guys missed us all showing our boobs on camera.
Yeah.
Talking about our boobs. Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Woo, sad girls.
All right. So let me go ahead and, I lost there we go. StreamYard jumped. I hate when it does that. Okay, so we will go ahead and get started. I'll do a brief countdown of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Sprint! right. So that was our last sprint
Woohoo!
for today. How did everybody do?
Great.
I've been working on getting some photos for an upcoming article in the magazine I'm working on, so I'm trying to get some of that done. I have a few more emails to send out, but that's mostly what I got done. And I made some coffee and I ate a candy bar. It was fun.
Okay, no, I get it. I get it. I can totally say, speaking of your coffee savvy, that I totally want your mug.
All right, okay. I got this mug at C2E2, the comic convention that I go to in Chicago every year. This is really nice. It's like the white part is like engraved into it. So it's like the outside is painted and the white part is like the paint has been chipped away or something. It's a really cool mug and it was only like $15. I was shocked. I was like, a mug this high quality and this dishwasher safe? Like, I love this mug.
Yeah, I totally, when I come home, because I'm from the Midwest, I'm from Indiana. When I come home, I will totally make sure I touch it. I'm from a little town in southern Indiana called Vincennes.
Okay, I was just wondering if you were close to Chicago because I was like,
oh no, about 5 hours away.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's about 5 hours away from Chicago, but we always fly into Chicago because it's cheaper than flying into Indy.
Oh, okay.
And so we usually fly into Chicago and then rent a car because even with renting a car, it's still cheaper than flying into Indy. So, but I promise if when we fly into Chicago and I come home for a visit, we will totally have to like hang and have a beer or something. I may or may not steal your Trek mug, but
That's funny.
But how about you, Lisa? How'd you do?
I did pretty well. I am really close to the end of the notes for my script, so that's good. And I have other stuff I have to finish today, but yeah, I made really good progress.
So do you work on just like you work solid on your notes for just one script at a time, or because what I kind of do is I'll work on my notes for my script and then I'll get kind of it basically put down and then I'll put it aside and I'll work on a different one and then later I'll go back to that script to see what else I'm thinking about.
Yeah, I tend to add stuff in. I like to sort of I write scripts like I write books. I kind of I'm not writing a word for word script. I basically am writing bullet points of things that I want to cover. I usually do it over a couple of days just because there are always things that I add in later. And honestly, if you've ever seen any of my videos, like all the goofy ass faces that I make, those are just whatever happens in the moment. There are times when I'm on a topic and I'll be like, oh, and think of some extra things. So, yeah. So I try to kind of make sure that I cover all the information that I want to cover, and then I'll come back to it, a day or two later to see if I've missed anything. But yeah, that's it.
Yeah. I understand. So we had Sako joined us during the sprint. So it's so good to see you. Sako was like next to Doll was my permanent karaoke host for the other day. It was so much fun. I just had such a blast, which I had never had Sako on my channel before. So that was pretty cool. And then Devin was particularly upset that they missed our conversation about boobs. So I was like, we totally would be like doing like still laughing from Devin if we were really laughing if Devin had been here for the opening of it. Sorry, I'm getting really distracted. My roommate and my partner are both home and goofing around. They're very distracting individuals. Now they're being more distracting.
Just kidding, you're having a very polite adult conversation, being distracted by you now.
So how other people did, let's see. Glory was outlining and staring at the ceiling. I know I do lots of outlining and staring at the ceiling on a regular basis. I'm always like, oh, what do I want to say now? Jeannie is making a new whip outline, just starting with the fun parts. It's always good.
Yes.
Words Fall Right's got 22 words down, and Bonnie did 2.5 handwritten pages. That's a lot. That's a
Good
lot.
for you, Bonnie. Good job.
My hand would be so cramped by that point, but that's just the bad part about having carpal tunnel and arthritis is I don't do the handwriting thing so much anymore. I pretty much have to type everything, but Misako showing a little love. But yeah, so I mean, I got through my like what I think is, I didn't add in the graphics and do all the overlays and stuff like that, but I got through what I think is going to be my final edit.
Good.
And managed to watch most of it. So I'll probably finish that here in a few minutes before I got to go pick up a whole bunch of boxes that friends are going to set out on their porches for me.
Did you edit an entire? It's too bad you don't live closer to me because I still have boxes in my garage from when we moved 2 years ago. Did you edit that video like from start to finish just in the live stream?
Yeah.
What? It takes me like 77 hours to edit a video. Savvy, you're probably really quick too, aren't you?
To edit videos? No, well, it depends on the video. Like my video essay I put out the other week that was like about Rachel Hollis going from indie books to being a cult leader. That one took me like 20 hours to edit. I spent like the whole weekend in front of the computer on that one. But the video I put out that went up on my channel today, I did last night. That one took me 2 or 3 hours. So it really depends on the video.
Yeah, and this video, it's a fairly short video. So it's not a really long video. It's just pretty short, and the subject matter is kind of boring, so I kept it as short as possible. I try to keep because let's face it, some of the shit that we talk about when we're like teaching new writers on how to do
not everything's exciting.
Anyway, but yeah, it's not all exciting. So I'm at the very beginning of the videos, I'm like, look, this is just some boring shit, but let's get out of the way as fast as we can, kind of a thing.
I've also noticed like my video editing takes longer the more I go at this. Like I get faster at individual things, but the longer I go at it, the more I'm like, well, I should be constantly improving over time. And like, I want this video to be better than all the previous videos. So I'm going to spend more time on it. And now I'm finding myself putting a video out every week that's like sometimes like 30 or 40 minutes long in a week. And I'm like spending all this time on it. And I'm like, but I want to keep putting out things that people want to watch. So yeah. But at least like as I improve over time, it's like there's more pressure to improve.
Right.
But it's like I want to keep going.
Yeah, I think the Dead Meat guy said, like, who is a professional video editor, he said that the better you get at this, the longer it takes. So
yeah, maybe the better you get at it, the more you realize, like, oh, I can like make the pacing here, and like it gets to the point where the original file of you talking and the final video sound or look nothing alike, because you're like, I'm going to edit the pacing here to make this part go quicker for the audience, and then I'm going to slow this part down, emphasize it for the audience, and then it takes a while.
I'm not to that fancy part yet.
and then like with this particular video, I mean, I recorded it earlier today after Firefly's stream, and I was like, all right, it's boring subject matter, but it's something that needs to be talked about because it like expands on another video that I've done in the past, and people had asked me for it. But I'm also working, from a temporary office situation. This is where I've been set up, since when I live stream and stuff, but it's really temporary for where I've been recording. And so I'm terrified that because I've got to batch all these videos for this upcoming month, that like my subs and everybody's going to be like, all of your videos suck all of a sudden, just for the month of May. And this fly.
You need like a little house down in the bottom corner, like, I'm moving this month, please be kind. Like, just to remind everybody, like, that, I think people are generally pretty nice and forgiving.
Yeah. I wanted to point out that Theo says that Savvy's rants are some of my faves, especially when there's alcohol involved. I love it. I love it. I do really love some of your rants. I'm like, I don't know what she's talking about, but I absolutely feel it right now. Like I didn't
Thank you. I'm glad you guys like when I rant.
I didn't know
I'll
what
keep
you were
making
talking
them.
about before, but I
It's
can
almost
hear
like
it now.
if I have something to review positively, I'm almost like, maybe I should find something I hate to talk about instead. You guys love it when I complain.
Oh, that's funny.
It's just funny. It's just super funny. And then, on Wednesday nights, like you streaming now on Wednesday nights and it being kind of like a sleepover pajama party is, just super fun. I've tuned into like the very tail end or the very first little bit of them. But I haven't gotten to watch one all the way through yet because Wednesday nights is just terrible for my schedule in general because it's when my writers groups always meet and we've been doing Zoom stuff, but everybody just raves about them. And so, I don't know. I have a lot of fun with your videos, Savvy.
Thank you.
They're fun.
Yeah. Okay, so that leads us up to a good spot to kind of wind down and wrap up for the day. So why don't we go ahead and do our outros. We will start with you, Savvy, and then go to you, Lisa.
Thank you.
Awesome. Well, guys, thanks so much for joining in on the stream. I'm Savvy from the channel Savvy Writes Books. Every Wednesday evening, I do a writing sprint live stream where we have an AuthorTube sleepover and wear our pajamas and have a good time and write together. I also make lots of videos about writing and about being a small business owner. I talk about the business side of writing and the small business world, and we roast business scammers, we roast pyramid schemes. I rant a lot and get drunk a lot and talk about how I hate people like Grant Cardone and Rachel Hollis who are trying to scam everyone, and there's going to be more of that coming. So, and I'm trying to get back into doing toy videos, so hopefully next week I'll have a doll modification video. So I do a lot of different things, but mainly writing and small business owner stuff.
Cool. Well, my name is Lisa Daly. My channel is Bestselling Author Writing Coach Lisa Daly, which is too long, but now I can't change it. So we're all stuck with it.
You can still change it. Yeah, you can change your channel name at any time.
Yep.
It's a brand channel, so I can't.
You can still change it.
You should still be able to change
My
it.
channel's I made mine a brand account too, and it used to just be Savvy, but then that wasn't like searchable, so I changed it to Savvy Writes Books.
I don't know. I got the impression I couldn't change it. I actually tried to because I didn't want like a 77 character.
Yeah, it's difficult to change it, but I'm sure you can. I'll see if I can help you with it because there's a way to do it.
Bless you. All right. So I'm Lisa Daly. I'm a traditionally published author of 9 or 8 books. And I write romantic comedies. I have earlier in my career, I wrote dating advice, nonfiction. So I actually have done both. And over on my channel, I give publishing and writing advice. And so if you're looking to write a book you're super proud of, hopefully you'll find some good stuff over there. And also every Wednesday from 11 to 1 Eastern, I host writing sprints. And Savvy is my regular co-host, yay, along with Caro Brown and Story Detective. And BC Brown is, of course, always hanging out with us in the comments. So that's awesome. And yeah, so thank you so much for having me on today. I really had a great time, great crowd, and lots of boob talk. So there you go.
Yes, lots of boob talk, which, so I am BC Brown. You probably know that because you're at my channel, BC Brown Books, where I get weird. That's what I do. Mostly I get weird about words, but, in the ways that kind of writers can. But sometimes we get weird about boobs. Sometimes we get weird about other things in general. So you never know. The way I know that I'm doing things right, or when somebody's husband randomly texts them and says, "What are you guys talking about?" That's I know I'm doing things right. So anyway, so you can find me at pretty much all the socials at BC Brown Books. I write paranormal mysteries, urban fantasy, and contemporary women's lit. I am also a digital marketing and branding consultant for indie authors mainly, but authors in general, I guess, if they want me. And yeah, I host this stream every Friday from 3:30 to 5:30 on getting productive and getting weird. So thanks so much for everybody for like hanging out with us today. I love it when I can get weird with people. It's really, truly the highlight of my week every week. And so that's pretty much all I have to say today, because I am a novelist and could end this in 50,000 words, but I'm not going to. So have fun, everybody. Stay productive, and I will see you on more streams.